Hello, everyone. Hello, sister.
Hello, everyone. Hello to you.
Oof.
We are
So
here.
on this day, we're going to pull back the curtains, maybe the shower curtains. You're on the shower floor. Anyone just sat down in the bathtub, let the shower water run all over you. Maybe we're just going to open the door to that closet, and maybe you're on the floor there or snuggled up under the covers in the bed. These are all places that I've been, and I know you have too, Stacey. And we really want to open this veil of sorts that is, we were trying to land on the word, and we don't really think the frequency is that of resilience, but it's those times in your life when you have been going about your business. You got your dream, you have your big vision, and boom, like literally a 2x4, literally a frying pan, literally a big semi truck just like runs into your life, runs into your plans, runs into all the things that you thought, the directions you thought you were going to be going. And I think we're seeing this collectively. Lots of this is happening, lots of transitions, lots of things that are not within our control. It's going to feel chaotic, and life continues. So I know it's like, I know I've seen lots of job layoffs. There's lots of layoffs out there. Just knowing who's in my field and people in my space and the women in my different containers, there's lots of loss. There's lots of breakups. There's lots of redirections and shifts on like what is going to feel good to me. A lot of grieving, a lot of life directional shifts going on.
Yeah. I like that you're bringing up the fact that this is what we're seeing in the collective. And I've seen it probably for the past few years, or for sure for the past few years, with so many women of so many different walks of life. I've also seen it with um, a whole lot of children, which has been really interesting. Them experiencing so much loss, even if it's loss of innocence, way before time, like way before that should ever happen. And yeah, we have all been there to some degree. And what we're specifically talking about are not these self-imposed transitions in your life. Those can be challenging and those can be difficult as well. But as Jill said, these are the ones that you don't even see coming. These are the ones that just show up and you're confronted with them right in the moment. And if you're like a lot of people I know, and Jill, I know you know, like your body responds. Your body responds first before your brain can even figure it all out. Your body responds. And most people have heard of the whole fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. But as we're going through it, our bodies keep responding. And it's hard to listen to what our bodies need when we're in those states. But these transitions, I'll choose to call them transitions, these transitions that show up, like there's something our bodies, our souls want us to know. Like there's a message in it for us. I don't know how I've gotten to every single message. I'm not even convinced that I've gotten to every single message from every transition, but I know you mentioned like the curtain, the car was always my spot.
Mm.
I would be in the car and just screaming my head off, crying, driving down a highway, driving through a park, like ugh, just handling it. Also because I felt self-imposed pressure mostly to always show up as if I'm okay. Like
Oh,
I
oh
have to
my
show up that
gosh.
way.
You are bringing this in. So I'll share this. This is like, ugh, let us know in the comments around like, yeah. Have you had this same thing? Because that's been the biggest thing for me is no, I got to put on my face. I have to put on my face and continue to show up in this
Absolutely.
way. And what you were saying, so first, the place around um fight, flight, fawn, freeze, right? These responses our body has. Both Stacè and I are, by the time you're listening to this one, I imagine we're probably pretty close and or complete with our teacher certification. We've been in a very intense process of becoming teachers for this work that is Ishtara. You can go to ishtarabody.com. That's ishtara.com, body.com to learn more. But this is really the root of this amazing practice that our mentor Tracy Harward has literally channeled and created, is allowing our bodies to respond and sit with those emotions to then alchemize. We'll probably do a whole episode on what is Ishara, but if
Yeah.
you are interested, shoot us an email, comment below,
Yeah.
like, I want more. We will reach out to you
Yeah.
because
We'll
both
give
of
you
us
more.
both of us carry a specific frequency, and you will know who is yours to go and be with and work with. But that was like the sidebar to showing up and continuing to put on face. I wish I would have had the tools that I have now at the age of, oh my God, how old was I? I was 28. I just did not have the tools. I was also still in a realm of like on and off depression, and I was engaged, and he called off the wedding. And I at the time was also director of sales. I think I had a team of 4 or 5, sales folks underneath me. Was in charge of the entire sales, build out our strategy, like, the what you do when you're in that type of position. And I put on face, and I lost so much weight in a matter of, I don't even, it might have been 1 to 2 weeks. Time is kind of, because I was so shocked. My place of solitude was the closet. I went in the closet. I mean, the whole wedding was planned. I called who I needed to call and kind of handed over the things of like, we got to cancel. Like, this is all
Yeah.
canceled. He got to move out. Like, it's that whole process. And my body was honestly in a state of shock. I don't think I ate for a long time. My mother got to fly in just to make sure I could eat, like just take a bite of food. And my team, because I did not share my truth, I didn't even let them in. I didn't even let my our CEO in until 6 months later. They literally thought I had a terminal illness. Like, they really thought something badly was going on with my health.
Mm,
They were
mm.
all so concerned showing up to our meetings. I'm 28, and like, I got to put on face. This is what societal, cultural, this is what I have been taught, especially as a woman, especially as a woman in this leadership role. I have really got to just maintain. Well, there was no maintaining anything when my body is in this space. I ended up resigning, ended up moving back to Kansas, lived in my parents' basement for, that lasted only a few days. But I got myself this apartment and like wallowed, numbed, lots of alcohol, lots of partying. Thank goodness my part of myself had a nice savings to be able to just like, literally, I don't even, that stage of my life was a blur. And I wish I had the tools I have today to be able to walk through that. But this is happening to lots of people where it's just like life happens and everything else is still continuing. And how do you continue? How do you even like move past that? You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
like, woo, I wish I had Ishtar when I was 28.
I wish I had Ishtar when I was like
Uh,
5
this should be it
for
should
my
be an
whole life.
introductory course at like
Like
literally preschool.
it should for
Just
parents
a
too.
way to move your emotions.
Especially if
Mm.
you're becoming a parent. You're like, oh gosh, yeah. I love that you're sharing this tender story, and I think so many can see themselves in that story. Um, and I know even if people can't fully relate, they get it. Like they get it. Stuff happens that we are not in control of. It's interesting you mentioned the work part too, because that also we've talked about this. That's been my story. You always show up publicly appropriate. And for me, especially at work. Mm-mm. You know, I live that very compartmentalized life. You will not know much about me. I'll be friendly and social enough, but no, you're not getting past the veil. That's just not it.
Well, and like that's a whole other experience too.
That's a
As a
whole,
as
like
a
it's a whole other
black
thing.
woman,
As
that's
a
the whole
woman,
other so
as a
many
black
layers.
woman,
So
as
many
the
layers.
youngest on a leadership team, like yeah, it's just a lot, right? And I remember that's why I'm saying the car, because it was me commuting at that time to and from work, and it was a couple hours or so each way. And that was my
Oh, I
time to
remember
like,
you saying that.
like just go through things. But I, yeah, I remember asking myself, I just looked in the rearview mirror, like sitting in traffic, just looked through the rearview mirror. I was going through a divorce and nobody knew, not a soul. And in fact, when I did tell my closest friends, they were in complete shock. Like it shook their foundation. Like, what? I like the world, my world was shocked because I was always appropriate, always appropriate. I don't talk about anything that's not going well. Don't share it. Not even the ones who are closest to me, because I carried a sense of obligation. Like I have to protect who was then my husband. I have to protect how people view him, how people view us, all about being publicly appropriate. And like, oh my gosh, if I'd had some different tools, let me take that back. I had a wonderful set of tools. I just didn't know how to use them. I didn't know how to use any of the tools that I had. And so I relied on my habitual way of being, which was what I was taught. Pull it together. Like I'm a strong black woman. This will not take me down. I'm pulling it together. I got to do this. We were living in the same house, separated in different rooms.
Hmm.
These are, you know, your groceries, not like just roommate stuff. Um, yeah, I'm not built for that. Like that's not a kind of life I'm built with. And then feeling the pain I was feeling, and it was about me hurting him. Like, like that was my best friend. Like I don't want to hurt my best friend, but what I'm doing is hurting him. And to watch someone go through the hurt that you've caused, it's like, oh my gosh, this is bad enough as is. And now we have to be in the same house and I have to witness. And I'm going, I'm up for this promotion. I've got this going on. I'm building my coaching business on the side after work. I'm in a studio recording music and just like demoing and just learning and all of this and going, my whole world just wanted to stop. I just wanted time to stop just so I could figure it out. And what I know now is my brain she didn't need to figure anything out. Like it was all in my body. Like if I had known how to use the tools I was given, my brain would have fallen in line. Like, oh, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it carried forward some lessons for me that I hope no one else has to learn is that we do get to pause. The lesson is we get to pause. I learned the lesson that pausing was for the weak. Like anybody got time for that? Life is still going. I still have to show up and lead at work and do this and do that. I have to I have to be this strong black woman. And I was like, well, where did the strong black women go? I'm like, wow, I robbed my friends and myself of this beautiful opportunity for us to bond and become closer and for me to be held and for me to be just very present in an emotional place. I always regret that I didn't bring them in. I always regret that because I'm going, man, that could have been such a beautiful turning point in our relationships. I mean, we have beautiful friendships and sisterhoods, um, then and now. It's even better now, but I'm only imagining how I could have,
Yeah.
probably for the first time in my adult life, known what it felt like to feel completely supported and to be received in my emotional states, and not just received. She's up, she's moving, she's doing things, she's motivated, she's inspiring people. Yeah, I get to be seen as human as well. And that kind of transition, I think, is happening to a whole lot of people right now. Like you said, with layoff, breakups, all kinds of things, just life. And I don't know if it's so much a question, but as maybe something to ponder, journal about, and think about for everyone who's watching and listening. Like, how are you navigating through either self imposed transitions that are difficult, or transitions that just came and pulled the rug from underneath you? Like, how are you navigating? Are you taking care of yourself? Is ego in the way to say, I'm not going to tell anybody? I'll just suffer in silence. I'll handle it on my own. Like, is that
That's
how you're handling it?
that's the part that is really like in my heart. Um, because I learned a very valuable lesson. It was months later, and I stayed in contact with my CEO, and I finally told him. I said, listen, I just need you to know what happened. It wasn't like you, it wasn't your leadership, like your leadership. It was, here's what happened. And I did not know how
Yeah,
to respond. His response was so straightforward and honest of, Jill, why didn't you tell me you could have went on sabbatical? I
exactly.
literally know exactly where I was sitting in this little studio like room in my like one bedroom apartment, and I was just like in like literally dumbfounded that
Mm-hmm.
this could be a response. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what if? What if I would have said that? I would still be living by the beach, which was a dream of mine. Like, what if I got this opportunity? That's the other piece of like these responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's like we are upholding an expectation because I got this role. This man who we were such good friends, and he was the CEO, and he had asked me. I was young, like early 20s.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be in 5 years? And I took a breath in and I said the woman's name that was the VP of sales at the time, and I said, I'm going to have her position. Just things happen. And lo and behold, I do. I get this promotion to the director of sales, which then the next step would be VP, right? And it's then all of the layered expectations of self, the layers of which you were up for a promotion, the layers of like things that you've worked for,
Yeah.
and everything gets so muddied when the rug is ripped from out from under you.
Yeah.
And so I think the lesson and the thing that we are really both of us like offering to you all is, where can you just raise an olive branch, and to who? Just one person. That for me was, I think, the most crucial state. Because you're saying, like, God, what could have been if I would have let my friends in? What if you would have just let one
Oh my
friend in?
gosh.
You
Oh
know,
my
like,
gosh.
why
I
do we
already
think
know.
we
Yeah.
have to keep carrying these burdens by ourselves? You know how many
Yeah.
women, y'all, we have really strong shoulders. We have strong shoulders because we've been carrying it all ourselves. And as a
Yeah.
collective, we're freaking tired. So let's lay it down.
We have
One
to.
branch.
We have to. We have to lay it all down. We absolutely have to, because there's big work for us as women on this planet. Like, there collectively is big transformational work in the world that gets to be delivered through us as women. We can't get there when we are bogged down with all of these things. And I'm not saying we don't get to feel our anger, our sadness, our grief, heartbreak. We get to feel all of it, but we don't have to feel it alone. We don't have to go through any of it alone. And we absolutely don't have to hold on to it. We do not have to hold that. I was good for that in my church growing up. It's like, come, altar prayer, leave it at the altar, and you walk away. Like, you leave. I was good at lead like stuff. I'm leaving it all on this altar. I'm going back to get it, because I didn't know who I was without fear and shame and guilt and pain. I didn't even know who I was without it. So it's like, I know I left it all at the altar, but I don't know how to be. I don't know how to be. This is what I know how to do. I know how to be in grief. I know how to be in pain. I know how to suck it up. I know, okay, so let me go get my stuff back, my big 500-pound backpack. Let me go get it again and just put on my face. Like, okay, we're good, we're
That's
good,
the
we're good.
piece too, is there's a lot of
Yeah,
practices out there of like, and I've done them in some instances energetically, it is supportive to do the like, write the letter, burn it, to
absolutely.
as you're saying,
Absolutely.
like leave it all at the altar, leave it all, like you release it. You can do the cord cutting, energetics.
Absolutely.
And the truth that I have found is deep in the crevices, my body still holds because there are memories in my body. You can do
Yeah.
the energy work. Energy bodies are one thing, spiritual bodies are another thing, our physical body is another thing, and our physical
Mhm.
body will hold these memories whether you responded fight, flight, freeze, fawn, however the response was. She's going to hang on to it. She's also hanging on to the emotion.
Yep.
So we can physically say, oh, it's a full moon, I released, sis, I released, I'm free. Okay. And this
Yeah.
is why we are so in devotion to this work that is Ishtara and the rewiring of our nervous systems in a really safe, trauma informed manner, because you've seen it, I've seen it, we've both been witness to each other.
Mhm.
There are things that are hidden in crevices of my body. And she
Ooh,
is like, and today you're going to tell this story through moving meditation. And
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, so it's
Our
all.
bodies tell the stories. I mean, completely. Our bodies hold the memories, hold the stories, and these wounds that we get. You don't walk through this life unwounded. Like these wounds that we get, we may say, "Oh, I'm healed from that. That was a long time ago. Time heals all wounds." Mm, it's not time that's healing the wound. Like you get to do things
Mm,
to create the healing and to receive the healing. My healing was always right in front of me. I just didn't know how to reach out and grab it. Always there, always available for me. I didn't know how because I was only hearing and knowing the stories that were stored in my body about what happened to me, what this experience was, or whatever the case is. But we get to heal these wounds collectively. It's our birthright, and it's also what is best for us. These wounds, they're not just ours. Like collectively as women, these are women's wounds. And if you identify as a man, there are your wounds. There are your wounds as well. And we all get to heal together. And I'm not saying like, go air your dirty laundry, tell it all, old saying. I'm not saying just run out and go and share everything. You do have to have levels of trust. You do have to feel a sense of safety. And you get to create safety. You don't just say, well, that person doesn't feel safe. I've been known for 20 years, they don't feel safe. So no. I mean, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but you need to be able to explore it. I would encourage anyone to just take a look at your wounds and take a look at how you have healed them and ask if they're really healed. Ask if they're really healed. You'll know they aren't really healed if similar things continue to trigger you. They're not healed. If you find yourself responding in similar ways to the same kinds of things over and over and over again that get presented to you, probably not healed. We are not therapists. We are not psychiatrists. We are not any of those things, but we know what we know from our own lived experience. We also know what we know from decades of training and education and this work, the Shara body that we have been doing for a few years now. Are your wounds healed? And if they are not, what are some new ways you can go about it? Can you do a new thing? Can you do a different thing? Can you tell your bestie? Can you tell your mom, your dad, your counselor, someone you really find as your confidant? can you share it with someone? I I bet there are people out there waiting to hold you. There are people out there who want to support you, who absolutely would love, especially if you're a giver. I'm raising my hand for those who can't see, especially if you're a giver and you love pouring into people. It feels so good for them when they can pour into you. It feels so good for them when they get to hold you and take care of you. And you get to let them. You get to let them use your
And you
discernment with who these
you
people
get
are.
to be in a beautiful space of receiving how they respond,
Yeah, yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's the piece. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we can't be
Oh,
afraid of how they will respond. Can't be afraid of that. If we're so afraid of how someone is going to respond, we get to choose. Am I more afraid of that? Or am I afraid of continuing life as I'm doing it, knowing it's killing me inside?
mm,
Someone told me earlier this year, it's like, but it'll bring up some stuff about abandonment if they don't respond in the way that I need them to respond and blah, blah, blah. Like, dead ass. She looked right in the camera and she was like, it could be the best thing for you. If they show up and they give energy of abandonment or judgment, it could be the very best thing for you because there are wounds in your life around that that you get to heal. You get to heal. And it's like, oh, and I was met with some abandonment. I was met with some stuff with that person. It's like, oh, that stings. And uh, I got to tell my body a new story. Like, you can handle with someone. I'm never abandoned. No one can abandon me. I'm never abandoned because I'm always supported, always loved, always taken care of. But we all get to find that out for ourselves. We all get to decide from a conscious place, very aware place, how am I going to heal? Not just move forward, but how am I going to heal?
mm.
It's our choice.
How do I want to unravel? Let us know in the comments, y'all. We just love hearing from you, and we're here. We love hearing, and we are here for you. Uh, mm, what a beautiful episode. Thank you so much, sister, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for everyone writing into us, either individually or collectively, folks in your comments. We hear you and we see you, and we so honor that you're so willing to share very openly with us. And it also helps guide us to what you need. So thank you. Keep sharing, keep commenting, keep emailing, keep posting, keep with us, keep still,
Keep still.
keep
Until next
still.
time. Mwah.
Mwah. Love you.